welcome everyone to day 3 of the 5-day 13 sign astrology challenge. I think we're ready to get started, ladies. Would you agree? Are you ready now? Yeah. Learning takes a little bit of an open cup, wouldn't you say? Like, we got to be open to receive so that we all come into the space feeling lighter and feeling brighter and feeling able to learn. And so we're going to dive in today to something really, really awesome, which is how anyone can learn how to read a 13 sign astrology chart by knowing the 4 points of power in the chart, knowing what they are, being able to look at someone's chart and just know those 4 things. And you could literally read anyone's chart. You can empower them, you can guide them, and it's just going to be so powerful for you. So anyone want to share? Yesterday, we started the work by looking at the first point of power, which is the ascendant. And the ascendant is on the far left-hand side of the chart. Did you have any big ahas during that part of the class? Did you have any more ahas later? Anyone care to share?
You did it in a very clear way, because I still don't know like all the symbols and what they mean. But it just, following what you were saying, and got Leo in my position, the ascendant, alchemy, or like the process between, how I work with fire and earth, and my fire creates more earth. It made a lot of sense. I felt good when I was hearing it, like, yeah, of course. So I could really see that as like a primary statement about myself, my soul.
Yeah, and that's the first point. And honestly, you could probably learn how to read charts just knowing that one thing. Like, you say, hey, I could tell you about your ascendant, right? If you're like really gung-ho and you really wanted to help people with this work, you could literally start there. And that's literally just having your training wheels on and you're going down the street and you're like, I can do something, right? It's giving you the power to be able to do something. Yeah, that was really cool. I loved sharing that with you. April, were you going to say something?
See that?
Oh, a bull.
A bull.
Everyone, Jean's sun sign is Taurus, or the bull. So that's so fitting right after you talked, right? I have a secret for you ladies, which is that someone I follow who I very much respect has made a big prediction about March being beautiful and heartfelt and full of green energy this year. And so I wanted to give you a little hope. I know February has been very intense, very strong energy, but March is supposed to be very tied into Gaia. And one of the big reasons this year is so intense, according to what I've been learning, is that it has to do with the awakening of the divine feminine, the divine mother, coming back to the planet. And there's a lot of cleanup. There's a lot of cleanup, and the divine mother is saying, it's time you listen, time you listen. And so those of us who have not been listening, we're having these big wake-up calls because we have to listen now. We have to listen to the oneness, to source, to God, to the universe within us. And it's very beautiful and very powerful. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Jean, so much for sharing. That was beautiful. Thank you, April, for sharing. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump into today. Are you all ready? Does everyone have your pen and paper? Are you ready to dive back in? Let's imagine this is you. And it's you now, right? And it's the moment you were born. And you're standing right in the middle here and you're looking up at the sky. Well, the top of the sky is the midheaven. It's the highest point. To the left of you will be the ascendant, which we went over yesterday. And below you will be called the IC, the ice cream, right? And when do we have ice cream? A lot of times, sometimes when we're going through intense stuff. I need a bowl of ice cream. So that's one way we can remember it. We also use it to celebrate. And so the IC is also associated with family and family traditions like birthday parties, right? So the IC can relate to our family and our upbringing as well. And then we have over here the far right. Okay, so we have the east, we have above, we have below, and we have the west. We have the 4 points of the year. So the 4 points of power relate to the 4 power points of the year. What do you mean, Lotus? Well, we're going to go here. We're going to look at the Wheel of the solstices, right? The solstices and the equinoxes. And so the 4 points of power are actually based on the 4 most powerful moments of the sun on the earth, the 2 solstices and the equinoxes. And so what do I mean? Well, here we have this cross, this Celtic cross. Well, where does this cross energy come from? Well, I was theorizing that perhaps it comes from the fact that we have 2 solstices and 2 equinoxes every year, and they create a cross. We also have 4 directions. We have north, east, south, and west. Okay. And so what do we do at those times? We usually form circles. Have you noticed that equinoxes and solstices and gatherings, we tend to form these big circles? And so what an astrology chart is actually showing us are the 4 power points of the year. That is what a chart is showing us in actuality, right? So equinox, the length of day and night are equal. Is anyone familiar with when the 2 equinoxes are every year?
Spring and fall.
Oh,
Spring
yeah.
and fall. Yeah, so about March 21st and September 21st. So those are 2 of the power points, the 2 equinoxes, okay? And then we have the 2 solstices every year. Anyone want to share when those are?
December and June.
Right. Yeah, so December 21st and June 21st approximately. I mean, give or take a couple of days here and there. But it's around the 21st of March, the 21st of September, the 21st of June, and the 21st of December. Those are the 4 powerful points of the year. Anyone want to share? Have you ever noticed that the equinoxes and solstices are very powerful? Those are times for thousands of years our ancestors have gathered, right? They are the 4 most powerful points of the year. On the equinox, the length of night and day are equal, okay? And the sun shines directly over the equator. Now, on the solstice, the difference between the length of days and the length of nights is the largest, okay? So the winter solstice and the summer solstice are a bit like the yin and yang of the year. So winter solstice would be the greatest yin. Summer solstice would be the greatest yang. So I have winter solstice, spring equinox, summer solstice, and winter and fall equinox, right? I have them all there, all the goddess energies, right? That energy, right? It comes through most powerfully at those 4 points of the year. Okay. So how does that relate to astrology, Lotus? I'm a little lost. What's going on here? Okay. So here we have the ascendant, sunrise. So the ascendant correlates to, anyone want to guess?
The sun.
Right. Between the solstices and the equinoxes, what does the ascendant relate to? Right? So if we have spring equinox, we have summer solstice, we have fall equinox, and we have winter solstice, what would the ascendant correlate to? Which one of those?
For the
Spring.
east.
Spring, east. Yeah, so the ascendant correlates to the spring equinox. Right. And in ancient times, right, 2,000 years ago, when they created the chart, the first day of spring was the first day of Aries. So it correlates to the sign of Aries. Now, because the constellation has moved backward since then, it actually will be Pisces at that time of the year. But the charts are still a little stuck in time. And so we correlate the first house to the constellation of Aries.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome. So the ascendant relates to spring. It relates to sunrise. The Imam Coeli relates to winter solstice. And the deepest, darkest, no, I'm sorry. This is where it gets a little complicated. The Imam Coeli actually correlates to the summer solstice. Okay, it correlates to the time astrologically when the sun is at its high point, which we could have a whole conversation about this, but for now, if we're going to follow the system as it is, that is what is there. And the west, the descendant, relates to the autumn equinox. And the midheaven relates to winter solstice. Those two seem a little reversed, right? Intuitively, it's like, well, shouldn't the summer solstice be on top and the winter solstice be on the bottom? This is a whole big conversation that we could all go into someday about what's the right way to do this. What I'm giving you today is just the way that it's being shared currently, right? The current way of looking at the correlation between the solstices and the equinoxes with the astrological chart is that it goes spring equinox, summer solstice, autumnal equinox, and winter solstice. And that is the correlation. We can have a big conversation about this. Okay, we'll get through to it. So these are the 4 points of power. Can you kind of see why they're the 4 points of power? Because it's the 4 moments of most powerful solar activity on the planet. Now, let's bring it back to a chart, because right now we're thinking about the seasons. Well, how does this relate to our astrology chart? Okay. So the ascendant relates to the sunrise. The 4th house relates to midnight. So it's not only the time of year, but it's also time of day. And so the IC relates to our internal world. Okay, it relates to our deepest parts of ourself. Midnight. The descendant on the far right relates to the sunset. Has anyone ever gone out with a lover at sunset for a walk? Has anyone ever gone out walking at the sunset and seen lots of other couples out? The sunset in feng shui and just in our own life experience often relates to lovers and to partnership, because typically in our society, we tend to work all day. That's the norm, okay? And so you work all day, you come home, and that is the time that you have to celebrate life with your loved one. I don't know if I agree with this pattern at all, but that is what the traditional normative values have been. And so it's interesting that the descendant, the far western side of the chart, relates to relationships, partnership. Okay. So the top of the chart, or high noon, relates to our purpose, and it relates to the highest point of the chart. It's directly opposite our deepest, most internal self. So here we go. We start the day with the sunrise. That's our identity. That's who we are. It comes down and we go into our deepest parts of who we are, the depth of our emotions, the depth of our consciousness, our family, our roots, our DNA. This can be hidden things. It's like our most hidden parts. Like, we don't reveal this part. We don't share this part typically unless it's with friends and with family and people who are close to us. It's literally our root system. And then over here, we come to relationships. And then above, our purpose, our career. It's like the cherry on the ice cream sundae. Okay, the top of the chart. It's that beautiful cherry plucked right down on the top of that ice cream sundae. And so those are the 4 points of power in our chart: identity, family, emotion, ancestry, DNA, relationship, partnership, purpose, career. Okay, so identity, who we are, I am. Deep internal self, the IC, our emotional center, our DNA, our ancestry, right? Who we are on a familial level, who we are from our DNA, who we are on an emotional level. It's down at the bottom, right? It's below ground, just like a root cellar. So the IC is like our root cellar of our chart. Whatever is there, it's the deepest part of us, right? And Pamela, you have tons of stuff in that part of your chart. So that means it means you're very deep, right? It means you're very deep, that you have deep emotion, that you care very deeply. You're not a shallow person. You come from a very deep place. That's the root system of the chart. So you respect ancestry. You respect the past. You respect the way things have been. You respect the ancestors.
Yes.
That's what the IC tells us.
Wow.
Yeah.
So true.
It is. You know, I have my Mars there, Pamela, and so I can really relate. Like, I deeply care for my family. I deeply care for my history and for my ancestry, right? Whoever has a lot of stuff at the bottom point of the chart at the Imam Coeli, you deeply care about things. You're not a shallow person.
Can I share?
Yeah.
I literally, I know this is kind of maybe sounds kind of weird, but like every day, part of my practice is to and when I go to a new place, you know, like when I first came to the Asheville area up on the mountain, like coming up the mountains, first thing I did was offer a prayer, you know, offer a prayer to the ancestors and giving thanks and asking for permission to be here and coming in a good way. Like I do that. It's like it's a habit now to offer that prayer daily and to really be in reverence and respect, you know. It's just really important to me, you know, and
Yeah. And so your chart tells us that, right? And that's one of the great things I love about the 4 points of power, right? If you want to do this astrology work, is that if you simply learn and memorize what these areas are, you could look at anyone's chart and know, okay, they're very self-focused, right? That's going to be the ascendant area. 2, the IC, they're very deep and internal. They're very emotionally focused. They're very honoring of their ancestors. 3, oh, maybe all their planets are over on the far right in this area, the descendant. Oh, they're relationship focused, right? So if they have a lot of stuff right there, guess what? You're going to say, find a friend, get married, do a business where you partner up with other people, because they're going to be that person who always needs a friend around. And it's not that there's anything wrong with them. It's that they're here to learn about who they are through other people. Okay. And a lot of us have been made to feel wrong or bad if we're not in this rugged individualistic mindset that the West is. But some people are designed to learn through relationship. And it's not that they're codependent. It's not that there's anything wrong with them. They're relational learners. And when you have a relational learner and they're coming to you and they're struggling at work, or they're struggling to finish a project, or they're struggling to meet a deadline, or they're struggling to exercise, you're going to ask them, do you have a buddy? Do you have a partner? Do you have someone you're doing what you want to do with? And if they don't, you're going to say, well, you're going to have a lot harder time doing the thing, because you're someone who you excel with having a teammate. That's your jam. Right? That's how you bust a move. It's not through trying to do it lone wolf independent style. That's for if you have a lot of planets on the left-hand side, right? So left-hand side people have a lot of planets on the left-hand side of the chart, very independent, very much more independent, individualistic. Okay. You're going to say, you might want to do this project on your own. Should I partner? Well, I don't know. You should keep to being an individual here. All right. Now, however, if you have a ton of planets on the right side, guess what? You're going to be someone, get a teammate. Don't mess around. Like, find a partner, find someone to work with, because that's how you're designed. It's your natural, innate way of being, right? Does that make sense? Okay. Those are just the bottom 3. That brings us up to the grand finale, the cherry on top of the ice cream sundae, the bing, bada boom, bada bing, which is the midheaven. It's the MC, man. You go to a party, who is the MC, right? The MC is the boss of your chart. Some people say your sun sign is your like soul essence purpose. I think the MC is your second sun. I think it's like your second boss. Because it's your highest peak. Imagine, like, at the moment you were born, that sign, that constellation, or those planets were at the very top of the sky. You know, when you go out at night and you look up at the top of the sky, right? That moment of that moment of looking up, when we look up, that's like God, isn't it?
Mhm.
That's like God. And so when I look at the MC, I'm like, that part of the chart is so powerful, right? That can show us how we shine. Yeah.
I have
I
a
bet.
question.
Yeah, yeah.
I hate to say it, but I know you were talking about the ancestors and I felt really aligned with that and I shared, but I have personally struggled with wanting to be in community, but also feeling more, I guess, more alone, like more of a loner in a way, like needing to have a lot more time in prayer and in, I don't
Okay.
know if it's,
Well, let's look at your chart and let's see what's going on with that. Right? Now we have this basic math, right? So we'll start applying it. So now we're going to bring it down to Pamela's chart because she's like, well, how do I find community? I feel alone, right? So this is a session. Yeah, go ahead.
well, my question really was you were talking about on the right side, those are like the relationship focused, and the ascendant is the independent. And then you just were speaking about the MC, and I missed like what is the social like what is the connection with the IC? Do they just talk to the ancestors all the time? Because I don't feel like I do that, but I do feel a lot of reverence and respect and connection with them. Um,
Yeah.
so,
Well,
but I am curious about my personal chart as well, you know.
yeah, well, that's how we're going to answer your question.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to look at how you have this IC. And so the fourth house is home and family and ancestry. That's the house associated with it. The IC likes to play between the second house and the fifth house. And so the IC will move. It's not static. And so depending on the house that it is in, will tell you a lot about how you relate to home and family and ancestry. Guess what? Yours is in the third house. The third house is communication. Okay.
Mhm.
So that means you love to talk about your ancestors. You love to pray to them. You love to have communication with them.
Yeah.
You might really love leading other people in prayers about ancestry, prayers about being respectful to the land. You might
Yeah.
really enjoy that. And so you're not just stuck at home with it, which some people, if it was in your fourth house, I would say you'd want to make prayers at home. But because it's actually your IC in the third house, conjunct Uranus, which is the planet of technology, I'd say, well, why don't you get a YouTube channel and start filming your prayers about your ancestors and the land and involve other people in it? There's a huge movement around prayers for the land. There's a huge movement around honoring our ancestors. There's a huge movement around healing our relationship to the land and our ancestors. And your IC is in Virgo, which is the healer. Okay, so you heal through your voice and through your communication. In Virgo, it is the land, it is the earth, it is the
Wow.
ground,
Wow.
right? It is everything that grows on the earth. It is
Wow.
both the bones of the earth because it's the IC, and Virgo, it's also the plants and the flowers and the stems. It's all of it. And so the IC tells me that you go down to the bone deep level. You go down to the core, right? You heal from the core. You don't just heal from, if you're, um, if you had all this energy up at the top with the MC, I'd say you heal through the sun. But you have a lot more energy down in this deeper realm. And so you heal the earth at the core
Yes,
and you
definitely.
communicate about it. You have a great ability to communicate and share. Third house, communication, social media,
Yeah.
YouTube, all of those things. You might have a lot to say that needs to be said.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so video I found is one of the best ways to share our story. And most people really resonate with our story. more than anything
Yes.
else,
Mhm.
you know?
Well,
And
I will.
go ahead.
I just want to share that on this journey that I've been on in the last year, I started doing house and pet sitting, and wherever I go, I have been making a point to get out on the land and often find myself, asking for healing for the ancestors of the land and getting downloads and clearing like earthbound spirits and trauma from any ancestral traumas and things like that. And I've always felt on this in this past year, I've been getting more and more like miracles and gifts, things happening like that I all like today. I saw this ring and this woman doesn't even know where this ring came from, and she's giving it to me. It's a rose, and it's just this really divine mother connection that I have, and this connection with the earth and the land, and it really is gifting all the time,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
me. So it's a confirmation, a confirmation. I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal. I'm just saying that this is so
No,
revealing, so
no.
revealing,
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the
We have
medicine
to
of that.
we have to claim our medicine, my friends. We have to claim it. It's time to stop feeling selfish or like we're putting ourselves on a pedestal. It is time to claim our medicine, right? You claiming your gifts is the biggest gift that you could give this planet. It is the biggest gift. Me standing here and claiming maybe I have a gift about leading you all towards your purpose. I'm not being selfish. I'm doing this for you. I'm doing it because it's so much more than me. If it wasn't, it wouldn't feel so good, right? When I step up here with you all, I feel God come through me for you. Just like Pamela, when you step into your power and you connect to the earth and you pray for the land, you feel a power come through you, and that is a gift. That is a
Yeah.
gift. Okay. And so this is not about being selfish. This is not about putting yourself on a pedestal. It's about honoring the divine gift that God, source, universe is giving to you, that gave to you for this lifetime. That's
Yeah.
what you're here for embodiment of. There's no shame, none. There is absolutely only empowerment and support. And what I see when you share that is how beautiful it would be for others to get to witness your prayers because they come so deeply from your heart.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. And it takes courage for you because you have Chiron right next to your midheaven, which is the wounded healer around your psychic gifts. And that's your purpose, is to share your prayer with the world, right? The purpose, that midheaven, the highest point, is in Pisces, which is prayer. Oh, I'm getting choked up here. And
Yeah.
so I want you to realize that your desire to pray and to share it with more, the ninth house is out into the world, right? It's being a teacher, it's being a guide, it's being someone who assists other people. It's other people. You're not just supposed to linger with this alone. This is for you to share. That's usually why we're unhappy 100% of the time. We're unhappy because we have a gift. We have a gift in us that's kicking and screaming inside of us, wanting to come out.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And you're not going to feel that divine satisfaction until you're out there sharing it.
Yeah.
I was thinking about how I felt last week when I wasn't doing this challenge. And then I was thinking about how I felt today doing it. And it was like all the engines were on. The ignition was turned and it was like, and last week there was no engine. And I went, wow, this is the difference between us choosing to act on our purpose and our mission versus not choosing to act on it. And I tell you, it took me having to find this crystal buried in the ground. It took me having to feel like I was going to throw up going the wrong way to choose it. I'm not saying this is like the easiest choice. In fact, it's probably the most challenging choice on the planet.
Yeah.
But as you choose it, the rewards are substantial.
Yeah,
hold
for
them
sure.
in your hand and feel the blessing of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want you to realize that if you're feeling a spark in you, I don't think you're supposed to just be alone at home talking to the ancestors. It's in your third house of communication. I feel, I sense, I know that you're here to share. You're here to share. You're here to uplift. You're here to shine your light out to the world.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. You were talking about the ninth house. I guess that's something else in the chart that you're seeing.
So for
I don't want to take up
you,
too much more time, but this really feels,
for
yeah, very,
you, the ninth house is your purpose house. And so the MC travels between the 10th and the ninth typically, and the MC is the purpose point. So when the MC is in the ninth house, we are looking at foreign travel. We are looking at higher knowledge. We're looking at all the teachers, guides, mentors, spiritual teachers, people who bring something higher to the world.
wow, okay.
Okay, so Paramahansa Yogananda would be an example. Someone who has a divine teaching. Okay, you have a divine teaching.
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and you have your destiny point and your midheaven together. So your destiny is to have this career that is going to look different than anyone else because it's going to be spiritually based, which is
Yes.
why it's been so mind-boggling, challenging. How do I make a career out of a spiritual offering?
Yes, especially when in past many years, like the medicine people are the spiritual seers, for me, and I think that's why there's been a lot of fear of speaking this, of sharing this, because these types of people sometimes have been persecuted or condemned. Like, who do you think you are? Just look at Christ, like,
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
uh, he's
yes,
purpose, but he was way ahead of his time.
that's you.
Okay.
That's what you're working with here, is
Yeah.
learning to love thyself so much you overcome all the obstacles,
Mm.
right? You love yourself so much that you're willing to honor your gift, even if there's fear, even if there's resistance, even if there's anxiety. You love that gift so deeply. You love the gift of you so deeply that you're willing to take action towards it. You're willing to say yes. And I look at your chart and I see midheaven purpose in Pisces, the spiritual teacher, very, very close to your destiny point. Being an Aquarius, very different than Pisces. Aquarius being about technology, new age ideas, the world, the future of the world. It's maybe teaching some kind of humanitarian, spiritual lesson or gift for people.
Okay.
And you probably are going to do it through some type of communication about the land. So there's ways to do it, right? And so your spiritual gift. So think about Pisces as that there's a spiritual gift that comes through you. It doesn't matter how, okay? It's just that there's a spiritual gift within you that needs to come from above,
Yeah.
through, and out.
Yes.
There's a gift above, you grab it, you love it, you allow it, and you let it come through you and out as an offering. And
Yeah.
so what is the practical physical means with which you're going to do that? Well, because the ruler of Aquarius is Uranus and the ruler of Pisces is Neptune, I would say one is going to be through relationships and children. The other is going to be through land and communication about land, healing, and health. Now, when I get up here, Pamela, and I'm doing a little bit impromptu mentoring coaching here because I'm feeling a synchronicity with Pamela and I and the work I do. And so I'll share this specifically for you, Pamela, and this might apply for others of you as well. I am not just an astrology teacher. I'm not just an astrologer. I channel divine knowledge from source through me. And one of the ways that I do it is through this chart and the information I bring through from it for you all. And so if you have a spiritual gift to share with the world, it's not so much how you bring it through, it's that you bring it through. And we can get so caught up in how do we do it? Which way should I do it? Just do it, right? One way that I've found is I'll just go live and I'll just share what's coming.
Yeah.
I'll just give it. Before I even had a clue what I was doing, I just started giving the gift of soul energy that wanted to come through. Okay. So I really recommend for those of you who are on a similar path, and chances are if you've been attracted into this community, you are also on a similar path. You have something inside of you that wants to come through you for the betterment and the upliftment of humanity. This is not just for us, y'all. This is for everyone. That's why it's so loud. Because there are people outside of you calling, Pamela, you have something for me. April, you have something for me. Karen, you have something for me. Jean, you have something for me. Andra, you have something for me. Anyone who's on this call, you have something for me. The world is asking for the light. It's asking for our gifts.
Yes.
Okay. And so you feel that so strongly. That's why you're committed to be here, because you know there's something in you that wants to come through.
Absolutely. Yeah. And not just for me and the trees and the animals and the stones, but for our humanity, like my children, my grandchildren,
Exactly.
everyone's children.
We're all one. We're one family. Your children, my children, our children, the future. Aquarius, Sun in Aquarius right now. Sun in Saturn in Aquarius and Mercury. We're thinking about the future right now. We're thinking about the world right now. We're thinking about how do my actions affect the future? How do what I choose affect the future?
Yes.
Yeah, it's big. It's big. You're not alone though. That's why we're here. We're here
Thank
so that we
you.
can do it together, so that we can collaborate for a future together. And so this is why a chart is so spectacularly powerful, is that I can work now with Pamela like we just did. We can identify the points that I know are so important. We just looked at her midheaven. We looked at her destiny point. Holy cow, it unlocked a story. And I know that was a little fast. And those of you who are still learning astrology are like, what just happened? But do you see the results? Do you see how we've assisted Pamela to step deeper into who she is, to acknowledge and confirm, yes, what she's feeling is on track. Yes, her intuitive nudge is correct. And now she's going to walk out the door tomorrow and be like, oh, I can do it. I can do it. I was right. This feeling was right. Maybe mom or dad didn't ever confirm this feeling I had. And so I wondered, I questioned it. I doubted it. Now today we've empowered Pamela with this information that the stars made at her birth to say yes to herself. That's why this work is so powerful. That's why this chart is so powerful. That's why this tool is so powerful, to uplift and assist the people you love and care about to say yes to who they are. And would you agree that we need to say yes more than ever right now to ourselves? That it's time, that we're ready to say yes. We want to say yes now. It's time.
Yeah.
It's time. We're like, it's time for me to be here.
Yes.
It's time for me to shine because it's time. 100%.
And I'll just share that a big part of my learning, especially in this last few years, since losing my husband, but since going through some of these bigger initiations, is to call back my power, is to give my power to my higher self, to my God self, to the truth of me, and not so much to well-meaning family members that maybe are not, maybe they're not that, again, that I'm, but we're in different places, and part of me wants to belong, so I would, like try to either bring them forward, then they would say I'm preaching, or, or like, kind of be the chameleon and try to fit in, but then not be really fulfilled. So then I pull my energy in and I just kind of spend more time alone.
Right.
And I'm not meant to do that, but
You have to heal your Chiron wound. That's what's going on here, because you have Chiron with your midheaven. And so every time you kind of step forward into that spiritual path, guess what? Something happened when you were doing it, just like Christ was doing his gift. And look, it's like that kind of thing is what stops most of us from doing what we're here to do. That kind of a
absolutely.
trauma. Okay. And most all of us can attest that we're dealing with something on that level, because if we weren't, we would be doing it already. We would be out there already. And so that is why I include energy work and clearing with this work, because otherwise it's not very kind, is it? Because to have that stuff brought up and said, hey, you got this going on, and not clearing it, ow, no. And so anywhere and everywhere that any of us on this call are dealing with past life trauma of persecution, of sharing our spiritual gifts with the world, everything that brings up from this lifetime or any other, raise your hand if you would like to destroy and uncreate all of that layer and level of stuff now, please. Just say yes.
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 Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, covids, and beyonds, anywhere and everywhere, the truest, brightest part of your soul essence that wants to get out there and share your gifts. And there's a past life trauma, there's a past life pain, there's a past life hurt or wounding around you sharing your gifts. Everything that brings up or lets down from this lifetime or any other, will you please now revoke, recant, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate all, please? Just say yes.
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, covids, and beyonds, anywhere and everywhere. Persecution has blocked us from choosing our soul path and our soul purpose from this lifetime or any other, everything that brings up or lets down. Will you please now revoke, recant, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate it all, please? Just say yes.
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, covids, and beyonds. Take a nice deep breath in. Take a nice deep breath out. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, covids, and beyonds. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Clearing the space, clearing the energy. Letting go of all that stuff. Breath in and out. All those layers and layers, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, covids, and beyonds. All those layers and layers and layers, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, covids, and beyonds, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, covids, and beyonds, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, covids, and beyonds, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, covids, and beyonds, out of the core, the genetic, the soul, pulled and resolved on the historical level and replaced on all levels with the Creator's truth and definition of pure unconditional love. Rub your hands together. Compassion, forgiveness, peace and calm, happiness, love and joy, right and wrong, good and bad, hot and cock, all night, shorts, boys, covids, and beyonds, letting all that layers of old stuff release, clear, and go out of your body, right and wrong, good and bad, hot and cock, all nine, shorts, boys, covids, and beyonds, any demons, any hell realms, anything negative attached to that trauma or drama, everything that brings up or lets down, we now revoke, recant, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate all, please, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, covids, and beyonds. Whew, deep breath in. We ask God, the universe, to fill you back up with pure unconditional love, light, showering your auric field. We ask for a beautiful big golden ball of light above your head to shower off your auric space, shower off your energy system, shower through your chakras. Shower you off, shower everyone off, cleanse and purify, send any negative energy down to Mother Earth, to Gaia, and then ground you back to Mother Earth, all the way down to the earth, anchor you in, And then feel beautiful white light, golden light come up through all of your body to shower waterfall over your head, showering you off again, and encasing you in a beautiful ball of golden white light. And only positive energy may enter this space, and inside you're feeling sweet and calm, peaceful and relaxed. God, source, universe, filling you up deeper and deeper through all directions of time and space, taking a deep breath in and out. Thank you. Thank you, God. Asking for a full cellular healing for everyone. Share unconditional love healing. All of your chakras be open, balanced, and aligned. All of your dantians be spinning correctly. Made strong. Grounded. And just let anything that's shaken off, shake off. But you're in a nice, beautiful ball of golden white light. Only positive energy may enter through this beautiful ball of golden white light. And out. Awesome. Just take that in, and we ask for an unconditional love healing for all the hearts, doing heart, mind, brain coherence for all participants. Please aligning your heart to your mind to your heart, your mind to your body. Collective field, bringing all of our hearts, minds, bodies into coherence in our own bodies and beings. Good. And asking all of your higher selves to come to each of you, your higher selves to come to each of you, your guardians, guides, your protectors, and just enfold you in this beautiful robe of golden divine white light and healing and roses, a million roses. Ask a million roses to be delivered to all of your hearts. Yeah, a million roses and a million lotus flowers, jasmine and honeysuckle. Special delivery to all the hearts.
Yes.
A woman. And every time she agreed with something, she'd go, what? She'd make a little yelp sound. It was so funny. All right. Well, I think you're feeling better now. Hallelujah. So this is the power of combining energy healing with astrology. This is the power of taking what the magical information of like our soul essence, clearing the energy, and then suddenly that issue is just softened and we're in a whole new dimension. Great work.
Yeah. Can I just share one thing?
Of course.
I just want to say that I just need to remind everyone and myself included that this clearing and this work that we're doing, it impacts the whole of creation, right?
Yep.
You know, so it's pretty big stuff.
It is. It is. Today I woke up and I said, I can feel the prayers we've been sending out to the planet each day. I could feel the light. I could feel the brightness. I could feel the joy that us coming together in a spirit of love, connecting to the oneness and learning together sends out to full earth. So blessings, all of you for that. That's a huge. Okay. All right. Pamela, thank you for letting us go deep with you on that. And we're going to come back to our lesson here and continue with
Lois, can I ask a question about clarification? So I'm a little bit confused on three things: the destiny point, the North Star, the North Node. Are any of those the same or different? Are they all different?
We're not going to address any of that right now because we are still working on the 4 points of power.
Okay.
So that's in the later class this week that we're going to dive into the destiny point. That is part of, a powerful way to read a chart. But today I don't want to include too much forward information because the goal of today is to get down what are the 4 points of power. Okay. Then we can start filling in what those things are, right? Like the destiny point.
So when you talked about the North Star, where is it on the chart?
Karen, it's not time yet.
Oh,
You're
I thought we were
jumping
just
ahead.
talking about that. Okay.
You're jumping ahead. We're gonna get to the North Star by Friday. The North Star is the grand finale of the class. That's where I'm gonna reveal it all. Okay, so this whole week is helping us get to the point where we can discover what that is, right? So I'm helping to teach everyone how we can find it, because if I tell you now, it's not gonna make sense. Okay. We have to build the framework. We have to build the foundation. That's Saturn with the sun. That's slowing down our horses so that we can build a foundation. Okay. Karen is already, she's already been through my masterclass, so she's ready to know the next information, but we're going to just slow it down here. Yeah. Karen, can you tell us what the 4 points of power are?
The ascendant, the IC, the descendant, and the MC.
Exactly, exactly. So before we know those 4 points, if I tell you the destiny point, I tell you that stuff, we're building a map here. So what we're looking at here is the map. The things like the destiny point and the North Star, those are the stars on the map. Okay, but you got to have the piece of paper with the compass first. So today and tomorrow, we're building the foundation for everyone about how do we know what it means when we find the destiny point, right? If you just saw the destiny point, but you don't know the landscape of the land in which it lives, it's harder to tell the full story. And so I know that you're a little bit ahead of everyone here because you've already completed my course. And so you're ready to go. And if we were in a training, I would for sure go into it and talk about it. But we're in a class here, and I want to make sure everyone's at the same speed. And so I appreciate your patience. They're all different points, if that clarifies it. The three things you asked about, they're all 3 different things.
And so but the MC is our purpose, right? So you're talking about the MC. That is
right. And so one of the things that we're going to look at on Thursday are how do we find purpose in a chart? And we're going to look at the top 5 things we look at. And there are 5 or 6 things. And then Friday, we're going to reveal the North Star. Okay. So the midheaven, the destiny point, your sun, those are 3 top things you want to look at to find purpose. Yes. Midheaven, destiny point, your North Star, all of those things relate to purpose. Yes, that is true. But that would be racing the horses forward before everyone's in the cart with the horses. So I just want to slow it down a little. Yes, midheaven. So we're going to just focus on the midheaven. Okay, so let's not too distracted here. The destiny point is important. Okay, it's important. And we were just able to use it to show, what did we look at? We looked at how Pamela's midheaven is with her destiny point. So if you were to calculate and use numbers for the power of each thing, right? When the midheaven and the destiny point are together, let's say you have 10 points for each point that helps you to find purpose. You get 10 points. Well, midheaven would be 10 points, destiny point would be 10 points, North Star would be 10 points. Now, if the midheaven and the destiny point are together, how many points is that?
20.
Yeah. So that increases the power of it. And I'm sorry, Karen, I hope I didn't hurt your feelings. I have to be careful how much I say right now because everyone's at a different place and I don't want to.
I understand. I was just confused and I wasn't like even trying to thinking of going ahead. I was just trying to clear my confusion.
I know.
Thank you.
I'm sorry if I teased you. I was surprised in the moment, like a deer in the headlights. We can't talk about that. It's like going into like the Christmas tree presents and like talking about what the presents were, and you didn't know. You were just trying to clarify your question. Because you
Yeah,
know
at least
more,
I know
right?
they're all three distinct points. That was really my question.
You guys just got a sneak peek. You just got a sneak peek into the future lesson about the destiny, about purpose, really, right? And how many of you are here to find out your purpose? So that's where we're headed. Okay. So you just got a little sneaker peeker into we're wrapping presents. It's the day before Christmas. Karen and I in there wrapping presents, and she's like, "Oh, what's that?" I'm like, "Oh gosh, they're not allowed in yet. Little elves, go out. Santa and I have to talk." Right. So that's fine. So here we go. Let's come back to the present moment. Let's come back to what I want to hopefully convey to you all tonight, which are the 4 points of power. Does anyone else want to share what are the 4 points of power really fast? Or if you're not clear about it, we'll explain it more.
Ascendant, IC, descendant, and midheaven.
Okay, cool. So now we're going to go through and explain a little more deeply what each of those are. And then by the end of the night, we're going to go through and talk about them and give examples. Okay, does that sound clever for everyone here? Does that jive? Okay.
Awesome.
So ascendant is sunrise. IC is midnight. I like to think about the time of day because it helps me get the perception of what that means for a person. Okay. So if the ascendant is sunrise, that's how they shine and like they rise that way. But have you noticed the way we rise in the day isn't how we are the whole day?
Yeah.
So the way we wake up in the AM isn't how we are always. Okay. Similar to the ascendant, we're not always like our ascendant. We may come across that way, that may be our outside surface, but it's not who we fully are through all the layers. Okay. And then we come to the IC, and that is where we go deep, right? Midnight, deep into, that powerful place inside of us. We have this power, it's the core, it's the womb, actually. You could say it's the womb, right? It's from the womb, from where all the babies come, where we came from, right? And then we have the descendant sunset. It's that time where we finally have time to be with our partner and go on a blissful romantic walk. Interesting, right? Our marriage, right? Marriage is not everything, right? It's the sunset. It's not the whole day. It's that cherry on top. It's not, right? Many people think, oh, I'm going to grow up and get married and I'll be happily ever after. I thought that. And then I was in my happily ever after and I was unhappy because I didn't have a purpose. And I went, oh my God, it's not about the relationship. It's about me. And it's about me finding my happily ever after in me so that I can have a happily ever after with them. And that was such a wake-up call for me, especially many of grew up watching Disney movies and princesses and happily ever after. I mean, our whole culture, pretty much, right? And so I had to learn that it was actually me having my own purpose that gave me inner happiness. It wasn't Prince Charming because I had the reverse happen. I had Prince Charming come in. I got with Prince Charming. Everything was great. And then I was deeply unhappy inside of myself. The relationship was great. The person was great. I wasn't happy. And so I had to take some time in myself to find my purpose. And when I finally found it, guess what? Doesn't matter what happens out there. Prince Charming's still there, but now I'm happily ever after with Prince Charming because I'm happy in me. That was a surprise. I didn't see that coming. I spent my whole life manifesting the dream partner. Dream partner came. Oh my God, I'm not ready for this because I hadn't found my purpose yet. So little hats off or heads up to everyone on that journey, right? It's all about finding that inner yes to create the outer yes. And so the descendant, the sunset is our outer yes. The ascendant is more of our inner yes. That makes sense. It's who we are. And then our sunset descendant reflects who we are, so to speak, right? It's a mirror. So the more affirmed and confirmed we are in ourselves, the more our relationships reflect that. Right? And so if we're not 100% lined up in ourselves, guess what? That mirror, right, of our friend or our partner, it's going to show us. Yikes. It can be really intense sometimes. So work on ourselves. That's the MO, and we will thrive. Then we have our midheaven, which is high noon. Okay. And that's like full expression. So imagine we go through the journey of the self, the sunrise, the ascendant. We go through our day. We come to midnight. We process those deep emotions. We come to our relationship. We learn and grow. We hit the midheaven, and boom, everyone, look out. Karen, April, Pamela, Andrea, Jean are stricken through. They are shining. They're celebrating because they're in their power and this is their purpose, and they've reached the top of the mountain. They're standing at the top of the mountain, right? They're shining. That's what the MC is. It's us shining. So it's all the work. So is that a cakewalk? Is it like easy to do this? Well, ask anyone who's done it, right? Ask, the greatest celebrities, ask the greatest leaders, ask the greatest teachers. What was the journey to get to the top like? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, well, are you ready to hear the story? Right? And so this is my invitation to you, that it is in your challenges, it is in your obstacles that become the narrative of your success. Right? You look back at any famous person or success or celebrity, and it's not that everything was flawless, smooth sailing, was it? Martin Luther King, okay, Albert Einstein, they went through so many adversities. Some people who are famous didn't know how to speak. They had a speech learning impairment. My mentor couldn't even talk till he was like age 4 or 5 or 6. Okay. And now he's the most successful teacher, mentor I've ever met. Okay. So what are your challenges? How have you been placing your challenges and obstacles as being a failure or a negative, when really perhaps they're the ingredient for what it's going to take for you to become successful? And you're going to look back one day and you're going to go, I can see why I had to go through that, because that's what made me who I am today. And now I can help you, and 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 I can help you, because I went through this. And so the midheaven is the peak of the mountain after all of that. It's our purpose. Okay. And so our purpose isn't always known today or tomorrow. Our purpose isn't always revealed in an instant. Sometimes it's the journey towards the purpose that reveals it. And sometimes it's realizing that where we've been has been part of our purpose all along.
Mm-hmm.
You guys ever hear this story about it's called Acres of Diamonds? You ever heard this story before? I think I was in my mid-20s when I read it, and it touched me profoundly. And it's about a man who had big dreams, wanted to be successful, right? He wanted to go out into the world and achieve great success. So he went out into the world. He traveled. He went to every country, worked every job. He tried everything. Nothing worked. And he came home and he was disheartened. And he gave up. And he went into his backyard. I think he was digging. And he found acres of diamonds in his backyard. He found everything he'd ever wanted. His whole life was right there the whole time. And he hadn't even known. That is you, my friends. Everything you have inside of you, all the success, the magic, the miracles you've been seeking, there have always been there, just waiting for you to find them, to discover them, to finally look at yourself and value who you are without needing anything else. No more this, no more that, but here and now. Loving yourself just the way you are. That is acres of diamonds. Okay? So if you've been struggling to find that success, I just want to put the mirror up and say, hey, you might already be that success now. You might already be that achievement now. You might have been looking outside yourself and forgotten to see that you have the acres of diamonds within you. I remember when I read that, it changed my life. Remember that feeling? Oh, what if everything I thought I was looking for was really here the whole time? Really right here. That you hold acres of diamonds in your heart. No, our world tries to distract us, but I'm here to remind you, you have it all within you. That's the truth. Everything out there, you have within here. That is what this map is for, and that's what this class is for, is to be the map back home to you. The map back home to your true self. Right? And it's connected to nature. It's connected to the cycles of nature. It's connected to the cycles of the moon. It's connected to our ancestry and our DNA, that for thousands of years, we've followed these cycles and seasons. We've felt them in our bodies. And so this is a map really for you, to you. I'm just a guide. I'm just here to, share it with you. It's not mine. It's ours. Okay. Whew. And so when we look at the chart, I love, this is like one of my favorite things I've ever made. And it's a map of an astrology chart combined with looking at the IC and the MC relationship. So the MC, right, it's that cherry on top. It's our purpose, right? And maybe our purpose is like those acres of diamonds. It's already within us, right? And the roots are down here in the fourth house, the third house, the IC. IC are the roots, right? It's our emotional structure, where we come from, what happened in our life. Now, if your purpose is not blossoming, I want to say this to you. The roots create the fruits. Okay, so if you decide to follow and do astrology, and a client or a friend or you're looking at your chart, comes to you and says, my career, my purpose is not blossoming the way I want it to be, then I'm going to remind you of this. The roots create the fruits. So you want to look at the root system of the chart. You want to look at the IC. You want to look at the fourth house. You want to look at what happened in childhood, what happened in the home, what happened with family. Okay? Because that is where the issue is in our blossom. It's not because our purpose is off. It's not because we're doing the wrong things. It's because something happened when we were pre-conscious, maybe even in the womb. The womb is a very sensitive time. Okay. And so whatever our mom went through, we felt. Whatever thoughts she had, we felt. Okay. And so oftentimes issues with our purpose relate to our early childhood and the womb. Okay. And so that's where using energy clearing is a really powerful tool to help start healing at the roots, whatever's blocking you from the full blossom. And that's why I call my business Blossom with Lotus, because I'm here to assist people at untangling their root system so that they can fully blossom. Okay? It's to use the map to identify what the issues are in the root system and then clear them so that you can fully blossom. That's the vision. That's the intention. And that is what happens a lot of times with my clients. We find the root and the blossom can be had. That reconnection is possible. Whew. So 4th house, I see, I am, home, family, emotions, depth, and roots. That is what the IC is about. It is related to our DNA, our foundation, our family, our history, our genetic code, right? If you're into ancestry, you're going to want to look at the IC. It's deep. So a lot of times, sometimes, the issue with our purpose is that we have ancestral inheritance, mom's side, dad's side. We have an ancestor blocking it. Not by like wanting to be necessarily, but because maybe they're afraid, they have fear, they have anger, and it got transmitted down through your DNA. And so that's how I started doing ancestral healing. I was living with my mom, and I was reading a book about how to clear energy, how to clear trapped emotions, how to clear it out of your ancestry. And she had this crazy thing happen with her stomach where she was in immense pain. And I thought I had to call the ambulance. And I said, Mom, would you be willing to let me practice this energy clearing tool I've been using and learning to help you? Because I know you won't call an ambulance because you're that stubborn and won't do Western medicine. And she said, okay. And so I tuned into the energy. I tested. It was a trapped emotion and her father's side. I used the clearing method I shared with you. We cleared it. Pain was still there. I did 4 more rounds and it went away completely. Wow. And she fell asleep. And wow. She left me sitting there with my mouth open. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe this had just happened, that I was able to use something that totally changed how she felt. So that's one thing I like to share with people is the ancestral healing portion. Okay. So I include that with my sessions, and I'm actually thinking of including it with my next training to actually do more ancestral clearing than I've ever done. I'm getting that right now that it needs to happen. So yeah, it's time. It's time to clear these things. Mm-hmm. Big time. Mm-hmm. Yay, Jean, that's awesome. Yeah, Jean was saying I did a session with her and all the pain was gone. And so yeah, clearing ancestral trauma can clear physical pain. It's pretty amazing. Jean, what was the pain you had? Was it in your left hip?
Yes. And it had been kind of noticeable for maybe a few weeks. And then I got this hit because you had mentioned something about ancestral healing. And I just, my guidance was I got to contact you. But I didn't expect it would just all be gone. Like we had a long session, yeah. Maybe like 2 hours of working on that, but it was completely gone.
Yeah. Yeah. It's mind blowing. I mean, Jean, I can barely believe it myself. I'm like, we can move pain. I had one woman call me on a solstice or an eclipse with a horrible toothache. And we did a clearing and that toothache was gone. I was like,
yeah,
really?
and this is all happening online. Like Lotus didn't put her hands on me, right?
Right.
So yeah.
You know, we are so powerful, and that's one reason I keep doing this online thing is that us just right here now, we can do a lot.
Yeah.
We can do a really, really lot. Okay. All right. So why don't we get into this now? So we've covered the ascendant for almost everyone on the call. I think we have several new people today. Welcome everyone. But today we're going to dive into the IC. And that's why it's been the energy it's been, because I didn't know that this was going to happen, but it's time to dive into the IC. So we're going to go through and we're going to look at everyone's IC. Raise your hand if you're ready to go.
Sure.
To share what this can reveal, because it's incredibly powerful. You know, I like to keep things light and bright and fun, but the reality is deep stuff is present. Okay? We are all going through deep stuff and transforming it and changing it, but it's there. So let's face it head on. I know it, and we can all do this together. So teamwork, yeah. Yeah, we didn't, I don't think we've ever done anything major on this planet alone. I actually had a dream where a great teacher came to me and said, "No man is an island." And I went, whoa.
I love the quote by Margaret Mead, never underestimate the power of a few. I forget the exact, but it only takes, just even a few people coming together with a powerful commitment to really be the change, if you will.
All right, Karen.
Beautiful.
Here we go. Are you ready?
Yes.
Beautiful, Karen. Karen is such a solid, loving, supportive presence. She just exudes earth grounding energy when I connect with her. And of course, having done your chart, Karen, I can see where it comes from, for sure.
Thank you.
And that would be Venus and Saturn in Capricorn. So she's got the earth and the grounding, and you just feel like she is solidly there. And she would have had to be a gymnastics teacher for what, 20 years? 30, 40?
40.
40 years. This woman guided young people in gymnastics. That's amazing. That's just, whenever I hear you talk about it, I just go, gosh, that's just really spectacular. I think about what gymnasts do and I'm just in awe, right? And you learned how to do that stuff before you taught it.
Yeah, I love gymnastics. I was in love with it. My two older sisters were, I begged my mom for you. She's like, well, one of them has to be done with it before you can start because I can't afford three of you at the same time. So I was 9. I wanted to start sooner, but that was fine.
Okay, well, last night we looked at Karen's ascendant, okay? That was point number 1 in the 4 points of power. Now we come, and that's Leo, right? Leo rising, which is the element of fire, right? And then we looked at what planet rules Leo, the sun in Pisces, which is water. And so we talked to Karen about how there's a nice balancing between fire and water that she does for herself, okay? And so we look now at her IC, and your IC is also in the 3rd house. Is that what you also have on your chart, Karen?
I don't know, because I don't have, I wasn't able to load everything into my Prometheus yet to get charts constructed.
But you have one, right? You have a chart.
I just took a screenshot, I think, of this one that you've been using.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm sure it's the same. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get on that. We'll get on that. So IC in the 3rd house. Okay, so we talked about how the IC relates to family, ancestry, DNA, our past lives. It relates to things of the past. Well, her IC in the third house, that the third house is communication, right? It is short trips, it's information, it's teaching and learning. And so Karen has would have with the IC in the third house, a very deep ability to learn. Okay, so when I see IC, I just think deep. Okay, I just think deep. And so a deep ability to communicate. And Pamela, you also have the IC in the third house. Okay, so that would also relate to you as well. The deep ability to communicate from the core. I think of the IC as the core, right? It's the core of us. It's the genetics of us. It's the depths of us. And so the sign that your IC is in is Libra. Now, it's very, very close to Scorpio. Okay, it is 1 degree away from Scorpio. Anyone want to speak to Scorpio energy? What is Scorpio energy?
Scorpios are sexy.
Yeah, Scorpios are sexy. Yep.
Mysterious.
Mysterious. Deep. Yeah. So Karen has 2 energies here. She has both Libra and Scorpio. Libra is balance, it's partnership, it's marriage. Okay. So that could mean really loving, having a harmonious household, a beautiful home. It could mean her emotional nature is, well, what element? Let's back up a minute here. What element is Libra? Does anyone know?
Air.
Air. It's air. So let's think about deep emotion. What element is typically associated with deep emotion? Anyone want to guess?
Water.
Yeah, nice. So what do you think happens when you have an air sign with a water placement? Okay, now the thing is though, it's so close to Scorpio that it's like more, it's equal air and water. Like let's actually call it 25% air, 75% water, because when something is at the end, it's more of the next sign than it is the sign that it was before. Okay. So that would be very deep water, double water, Scorpio plus the IC kind of being water by nature, water, water. Okay. And so that would be very deep emotion. That would mean, okay, if we were to say that the IC represents how deep is your well? Okay. How deep are you? How far down will that rope go? Karen, her well would go very deep. Okay. She would be so deep. She would be able to hold space so deeply. And I've noticed that with her. She listens more deeply than many people I know. Right? She has the deep well to really hear. Okay. That also can mean sensitivity. Emotionally sensitive, like that words can hurt her because she feels so deeply, right? And so when someone has such a deep well emotionally, you gotta be very mindful of your friends and mindful of your people and the people in your life, and mindful of your family too, because if the IC relates to ancestry, it could mean there's some deep emotion related to family. It could mean there's inherited deep emotion from the family. Yeah. And so the ruler of the IC, if it's, or just go with Libra for now, would be Venus. Okay. And Venus over here, her Venus is in Capricorn. So we looked at element, we looked at sign, Libra, planetary ruler of Libra, Venus. Okay, and so she has Venus over here in Capricorn. What does that mean? Well, she might take her emotion and be very pragmatic about them because Capricorn is non-emotional. Okay. So she might turn her emotion into structure. She might turn it into work. She might suppress the emotion through work. She might suppress the emotion through being rational. She might suppress her family emotion that she might have inherited through working really hard. And so the challenge for Karen would be to find places and spaces and time for her to feel her emotion and feel supported with it. Because Saturn, Venus and Saturn really needs earth. It really needs solidity. It really needs like something strong to hold it, right? It craves that kind of strength. Okay, but there could be potentially a challenge with emotion there. Okay, but if we're like, well, it's so close to Scorpio, right? It's so close to being in water. What's the ruler of Scorpio? So sometimes reading a chart is a little more tricky, and it gets a little more tricky when we're at the last degrees of a sign, right? It's like the last degrees of Libra. Okay. So one of the rulers of Scorpio, if we're going to use that as the ruler, is Mars. And Mars, she has Mars in Cancer. Cancer is associated with the IC. So if there was one sign most associated with the IC, it would be Cancer, the house of the home, the mom, the family. Bless you. Yeah. Gesundheit. And so, bless you. If there's Mars in Cancer being one of the potential rulers of the IC, that could mean that there was fighting in the home. That could mean that there was warfare or battle or anger in the DNA and in the ancestry. And that trauma could then be affecting her MC, which is opposite her IC. Right? And so as an energy healer, I would circle that IC, and then I would circle that Mars in Cancer, and I would say, Mars in Cancer can represent ancestors, IC, fighting Mars for their homeland, Cancer. So that could maybe be ancestors in her line who had to fight for the homeland to protect their family. And there could be trauma from those ancestors around those battles. There could be trauma from the homeland, which then could have manifested through challenges with her family or battling with the family. But that really the root goes back farther to the DNA and to the ancestors. And so by acknowledging that, it gives her a tool and a direction to clear. And Karen is actually a very wonderful and amazing energy healer. I've had several amazing sessions with her where she's worked with me to clear very deep stuff. She's amazing. And so I don't feel nervous about sharing this with her because I know she has so many tools, and this is actually probably very helpful for her because she'll know how to clear it. Right? And I'm always here to help as well. But I know that she has a big desire for her midheaven, her career, to be very successful. And it's in Taurus, which is about being a grounded, practical gardener, tending to the creations of the earth. Okay. And so in order to get to that blossoming, that radiant, lush river valley that she wants to build and create, because that's what I see when I look at Taurus. It's a fertile, lush river valley of lots of possibility and abundance and fertility. In order to create that, we go back to the IC. We tune into how Scorpio is so close and that its ruler is Mars. Mars in Cancer. And then that tunes us into, okay, Mars is conflict, it's battle, it's fighting, it's masculine, it's man. We know that the IC is the ancestry in the DNA. And we know that Cancer represents the homeland and the mother. So it could also be fighting or battle between the husband and the mother. And that the battle or conflict could be causing a wound in the root system, blocking her blossoming. Yeah, very deep, very, very deep. Yet as we talk about this and we bring light and awareness to this for Karen, I already see her DNA lighting up. So even a conversation, as my conversational hypnotherapist teacher taught me, can begin the healing. And so as an astrology reader, by us reading this chart to someone, even without knowing energy healing, we're bringing light to what would have otherwise been unconscious. We're bringing awareness. Karen, would you like to share with us anything from what I just shared, if that was resonating?
Yeah, it was all very, very accurate.
Did you notice anything?
My dad was a difficult personality. He was borderline genius, and he had a very hard time with social. Like he was, I think he was maybe a little manic depressive or something, because if you were talking at a party or something and you're talking about something he enjoyed, he was just jovial and happy. But if you got into politics or something and he thought he was right and you were wrong, he could really lay it on thick. And him and my mom, my mom had a college education as a teacher, and she stayed home and took care of the kids, but until I was in kindergarten, and then she started teaching again. Yeah, I was the youngest, so I don't, they were 6 when I divorced, so I probably don't know about a lot of it, but I'm sure there was a lot of fighting, and my mom was not one just to lay down, because she was an educated woman.
Wow, I'm really hearing that this pattern you experienced as a child was probably very deeply rooted to an ancestral cycle
I
of,
feel that.
yeah, some kind of battle between the matriarch and the masculine energy. And one image I'm getting that just keeps coming through, is of the homeland. And then, people coming like marauders or pirates or bandits or invaders, and the battle between the homeland with this threat. That's what I see with the Mars in Cancer. And then it's interesting because I'm seeing it playing out now. It played out for you with your mom and dad fighting, but what it was really vibrationally, the root of it was this deeper battle between your homeland and your DNA, your ancestral homeland, with an invader.
Yeah, what's coming up from my childhood at school and stuff is that I was always a protector. My stepbrother and sister were younger than me, and my stepsister was, one of her parents was from India, so in the summertime she'd get pretty tan and dark, and some of the kids used the N-word, and I put a stop to that right away. And yeah, I just can't stand to see people suffering or being belittled or ridiculed or bullied in any way. Just really hits a nerve with me.
Mars is Mars in Cancer. Cancer is very protective. Mars is action, right? So you go into action to protect and care for those you love. It's an interesting side to Cancer, because most people think mom and home, but another way of looking at Cancer is actually homeland and protecting one's homeland, like feeling this deep desire to protect your family and your home. That's one other side of Cancer. Think about the crab, right? With its pincer bugs, and how, yeah, if anything comes at it, it like attacks. That's kind of how Cancer is. Like it's fully chill, and then if you try and fight it, it's like, whoa, watch out. Like you don't want to fight a Cancer. Like, they will really show their pincers. So that would make sense, that you feel that way, that you're a protector, you protect those you care about, you protect your loved ones. Mars and Cancer, very protective energy. Yeah, I see that if you did do some ancestral clearing on on the homeland, ancestral clearing on homeland, and protecting your tribe, I think that might really help you to rise into your purpose. Because if we're still carrying trauma from having to, I'm almost seeing it like I have to protect the homeland. I'm too busy fighting, protecting my homeland to be able to go launch my career. And this happens on a subconscious level. We don't know why. It's a feeling. Like one thing I've had to deal with is a destiny point about being in a past life being a warrior. I'm too busy fighting the battle to go have a relationship. What do you mean? You want to talk about dinner and have a romantic conversation? I got to go fight this battle over here. Right? And so that's where, you know, I was teasing one of my friends that I should start a group for former warriors, because there's a lot of women who are actually warriors in past lives and who are learning how to soften into their feminine and soften the like just hang out and have a nice time together and everything's cool, right? It's new. It's like, well, in the subconscious, there's some kind of a sense of, you know, caring for the making sure
it makes so much sense.
Protect something.
It really makes sense, because in gymnastics, I would get this group of kids that would be 6, 7, 8, 9. I did the pre-team a lot. Did the basic building blocks. I started at the higher level, but I chose to come back down to the pre-team because I didn't really like the higher levels. So it's kind of very stressful. Mostly because they're teenagers. But then when they would have their splits all 3 ways, beautiful bridges and all their basics, and then they would move on to the next level, and I would still be coaching them maybe in one area, but they would be pretty much off with this other coach over here who didn't pay attention to those details, and I would see everything I built like unraveling, and it was just like so hard for me to watch that,
Right. So maybe you're actually seeing your village like going up in flames,
Yeah.
right? And
Yes.
so that's how these ancestral traumas happen,
Yes.
is that we have these huge reactions in our normal day-to-day lives around things that we're like, was I so upset about that? And that's
feel it so
symptomatic.
deeply. Yeah.
That's symptomatic of an ancestral or a past life trauma, typically 100% of the time. If it's an abnormal reaction, like, whoa, I can't even get over this, that's also called a samskara. It's just an indication there's a deeper root here. It's not, it's an ab reaction. And I know I've had many of them, and you will know when you're having them. And that's your cue, and that's your signpost. Hey, I'm actually having something emerge that is deeper.
Yeah. Thank you. That's really explains a lot.
Yeah, I hope that was helpful, and thank you for being willing and able to go into the IC. Do you see how intense the IC is? Did you guys notice that? It's like we literally just stepped into a different.
I feel like my mom prepared me well, because she was always saying, as far back as I can remember, you better be prepared to take constructive criticism or you're going to be living life the hard way.
You had a smart mom.
Took it to heart. Yes, I did.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. But if you can handle it with this work, then it can give you tools to get through it, as opposed to just being stuck, not knowing, having the feeling, but not having any languaging for what is happening.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Good work. Good work, everyone. And welcome to all the new people. This is awesome. I'm so glad you're here. What we're doing right now is we have just gone over the 4 points of power, how anyone can learn these 4 points to read an astrology chart. We went through the ascendant, which is the first point of power, which is on the left-hand side of the chart, AS. Now we've traveled down into the IC, or ice cream. I think of ice cream, but IC. And it relates to the deepest part of our chart. It relates to our emotional center. I call it the roots that create the fruits. And so it is the root system of the chart. If you're having issues with your your career, which is the MC, which is the point right above the IC. It's in the top of the chart. You want to look down into the IC to see what's there to begin to unravel the MC. And so it's very, very powerful. I've noticed that when I work with people in this arena, things can change rapidly. It's like whatever you're willing to face and really acknowledge can heal. It's only the things we avoid that stay, what we resist persists. So whatever we have the courage to just acknowledge and receive, we can transform. Yeah, it's really powerful. Okay, so we're going to go now to Miss April. Miss April Redbird in the house. She's clapping. Most fun ever.
I just want to say I love that picture of you, April. Is so beautiful.
Thank you.
This beauty queen was born on February 14th, and so she is a diva of love herself, visiting us all. She's just full of love for everybody. And so this is exciting. So April, this is interesting. I feel like I'm seeing all of your charts for the first time again.
This is my old chart before we ran it one time.
Okay. Do you want to message me your new chart? I know April's very tech savvy, so it will take like her 2 seconds. Okay. Hi, Andra. Hi, Jean. Hi, Crystal, Yola, Kit. Yeah. Awesome. So glad everyone.
A little fuzzy. It was a screenshot, but there it is.
I see it. Okay. You've got a nice name in the middle there.
Yeah, it's wild. Those 11 minutes made a huge difference in my chart.
That is so true. Everyone listen to what April's saying. So she found out that her chart was different time. And so we corrected it and her chart totally changed. I mean, it's important to know the exact time. And thank you so much, Andra. She found out her real birth time, so we can look at that tonight. It's incredible. I've given so many readings to someone that like, it just wasn't fitting. It just didn't feel right. It wasn't accurate. Actually, I haven't given that many of those sessions, but to the few I have, the only reason was because the time was off. So the time of your chart, it really determines pretty much the whole thing. And so it's exciting when we get new information. Sometimes people's whole lives change. Like Yola found out her time and her chart changed to the sun being in the 8th house and went to the 9th house, and the 9th house is travel, and Yola loves travel. Travel is her favorite thing in the whole world. And it was like, oh my God, it was so accurate and so fitting. So it's just amazing. It's so powerful what we can do with this stuff. So here we go. Back to April, back to the correct chart. It says April. It's a little fuzzy, but it will do. So we're going to look in at April's IC. And her IC is at 4 degrees of Gemini. It's here on the bottom. And her IC is in the 3rd house. So what does it mean when you have IC, the symbol for family, genetics, DNA, emotion, depth? First step, what do? Well, what element is Gemini?
Air.
Air. What element naturally rules the IC? What element is most associated with the IC?
Fire?
Well, it's actually water.
Water, okay.
It's deep emotion, okay? Deep midnight. It's the most yin area of the chart. Okay? So if the deepest emotional energy of the chart is in air, that means the emotional nature, April's emotional nature, tends to be lighter than the average. Like for Karen, it's closer to water. So Karen's going to be very deep. Whereas for April, the deepest part of her chart is air. So she's very buoyant. She kind of rises up. She's not someone who's going to get lost in deep, dark, heavy emotions forever. Okay, she's more intellectual about her feelings than she is deeply feeling them, right? It can also mean that her family is more superficial, right? The way that her family connects is more on a communication level, right? They talk, they communicate, they share stories. Maybe they share a lot of jokes. Gemini can relate to a lot of jokes. So it's lighthearted, right? It's a very different vibe. The issue or challenge here could be depth. She might, April, you might struggle to find depth with your mom and dad. You might struggle to find depth around connecting to your ancestry. It's like, okay, it's there, but it's more of a story than it is like a deeply emotional bond, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so our IC by element can tell us so much about our deepest emotional nature. Okay. April does have Jupiter in Cancer in the 4th house, which is the house of the home and Cancer's house. So she still has a very deep emotional nature, but it's a more expansive because Jupiter's about blessings and abundance, and it's about mentorship and teaching. And so she's very much like family oriented to a certain degree. Like she's very loyal to her family. She's very protective of her family. She cares deeply for her family. But the IC is a much deeper energy, whereas Jupiter is a much more gregarious energy. If that makes sense. It's a much more broad. It's more impersonal than personal.
Mm.
Okay, so Jupiter is not like the moon, for instance. Like if she had moon in Cancer, she'd be so emotional. Moon in Cancer in the 4th house would be ultimate emotion because the moon rules the 4th house. It rules Cancer. It'd be like all emotion. But Jupiter is a teacher. Jupiter is a mentor. Jupiter is a guide. And so you might be a really loving teacher, right? You might kind of create like a family situation for your students. Like whenever you bring people together as a teacher, it's like your family. It's like you're creating a little mini family hub, right? But you do that more in like a teaching environment than so much like close. And you also, your family could be very fortunate for you. You might get a lot of blessings from your family. You might get a lot of abundance and prosperity through your family. But it's not the sun and it's not the moon. And so even though you have that watery nature in you, you're not, and you've got rising in Pisces, right? So you've got water. When it comes to that deep inner IC, it's air, right? And so that could mean, okay, this is interesting. The issues in your ancestry could relate to communication. So if you wanted to do healing around the ancestors, it might be maybe speaking or writing or authorship where they had some kind of a block. So what I'm thinking is like maybe there was a writer, or maybe there was a speaker, and maybe something happened, right? And so communication could be an arena where you have something in your ancestry that could use some freshening up, right? It could just use some little clearing magic, which you know a ton of people who do it. So don't worry, you can find a way through it, right? Now we want to look at the planet that rules the IC. So we've identified first it's air, the element, the sign Gemini. What planet rules Gemini?
Mercury.
That's right. Everyone's getting it. Good job. Did everyone get the bonus I put up in the group that shares the planetary ruler, right? All the signs and the planet that rules it. If you go to the group page, I put that up for you yesterday. So that's there for you. Okay. Here. Okay. And so we have the ruler of April's IC, Mercury, in the 11th house in Aquarius. Okay. And so what that shows me is that, okay, you could have had an ancestor who was a massive communicator, okay, to the world. You could have had ancestry and DNA who they were both successful with it. And so you could have literary talent, like natural literary talent, speaking and writing, sharing information, technology, innovation, genius. And potentially there could have been also challenges to this. Okay. And so the way you'll know it is if you step up to the bat to teach or to write or to learn or to speak, especially in a group format or situation with a lot of people, how easy and effortless is it for you?
Oh, I shake just thinking about it.
There it is. Yeah, we found it all this time, April. That's so cool. Sometimes we have to be ready to reveal these things. It could take some time. So my guess would be that the issue with the speaking, that why it's not super flawless and effortless, because I know it could be, like you're very you have beautiful energy. People love you, right? People support you. I feel like it could be easy and effortless for you, would be to identify, okay, how many generations back was this ancestral issue? And what was the emotion? So I get it was an absorbed emotion. I get grief. At least 11 generations back. Okay. So do you feel that in your body when I say that?
My body calms down when you say that.
Okay. So I'm going to say grief, 11 generations back on your father's side. Do you feel anything in your body anywhere?
Yeah, I feel it in my chest.
Okay. So are you ready to let go of this grief?
Yes.
When?
Now.
Now. So on a scale of 0 to 10, how much do you feel it? 10 being the highest.
Maybe a 7.
Okay. So everyone tune into where you might have some grief in your family. You're gonna rub your hands together in your DNA, in your lineage. And just take a deep breath in and out. And just tune to wherever that grief is in the body. You might yawn a lot. Okay, take a deep breath in and out. Hey, creator of all that is, it is commanded that all of that absorbed grief, all of that absorbed grief in your lineage, going back, deep breath in and out, keep breathing, rub your hands together. This is big, creator of all that is, it's commanded all that absorbed grief be allowed to release and clear. Good job, allowed to release and clear on the core, on the genetic, on the soul level. They're commanded to hold and resolved on the historical level. About that grief around writing and speaking. Rub your hands together. You absorbed it. Absorbed all this grief from an ancestor about writing and speaking. Breathe in and out. Oh, creator of all that is. It is commanded all that grief be allowed to release and clear. Yes. We command it to release and clear on the core, on the genetic, on the soul level. We command it to be pulled and resolved on the historical level. Deep breath in and out. Stay really focused here, April. It's coming out. Focused on it. Deep breath in and out. Creator of all that is, it's commanded all that grief be allowed to release and clear. We command it to release and clear on the core, on the genetic, on the soul level. And it's pulled and resolved on the historical level. Feeling like we're just having a big old storm here, just releasing all this stuff. Creator of all that is, it's commanded all this grief be allowed to release and clear on the core, on the genetic, on the soul level. I command it to be pulled and resolved on the historical level and replaced on all levels. The Creator's truth and definition of pure unconditional love, compassion, forgiveness, peace and calm, happiness, love and joy, right and wrong, good and bad, fun and talk, all nine shorts, boys, povers, and beyonds, anything and everything preventing you from releasing and clearing all of this stuff now. Through all directions of time and space, will you please now revoke, recant, renounce, denounce, destroy, and uncreate all? Just say yes.
Yes.
Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine shorts, boys, povers, and beyonds. Good. Deep breath in. Creator of all that is, it is commanded complete unconditional love healing of your DNA, of your ancestors, what your ancestors went through. We ask for a complete unconditional love healing for all of you around this issue. Seeing your timeline, asking for complete unconditional love healing of that issue. Through all directions of time and space. Seeing it clear. Seeing it release. Thank you. Thank you. It is done. It's done. Show us. Ask for a complete unconditional love healing around the throat chakra, around speaking and writing, and authorship. We ask this all to ripple out through your whole world and life, through all your friends and your family and your pocketbook and your internet and everything good. Creator of all that is, unconditional love healing for all of you. Yeah. Ooh. Good. Deep breath in and out. Ask Creator of all that is to please fill you all back up completely through all levels and layers and all directions of time and space with the pure unconditional love and light of the Creator of all that is. Thank you. It is done. It is done. It is done. Show us. Good. Breathe in and out. Shake it out. There it is. Good. Breathe in and out. Find your ground again. A beautiful golden bubble of light all around you, anchoring you to the earth. And water following up, water falling over your head, showering you with light. Only positive energy may enter. Deep breath in and out. Okay, breath in and out. Good, April. Yeah, really, you're gonna sleep really good tonight. April, on a scale of 0 to 10, when you think about ancestral grief and your lineage around writing and authorship, 0 to 10, 10 is your highest trigger, 0 not at all. How much do you feel it?
I'd say I'm at a 4.
Okay. So I want you to tune in now. We're gonna look at your IC again in Gemini. And we're going to look at the ruler being Mercury in Aquarius, about authorship, about speaking, about writing. And I want you to imagine now that you're in a large group and you're going to go speak or write or share something. What happens? What do you notice?
I'm still a little shaky. I'm being pressured by my family. My dad's home now. It's his birthday. So
Sure, you got to go.
yeah, that might be contributing to the anxiety I'm feeling.
Yeah, but I actually saw a change in your face when you said that. Could you kind of feel that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it can be hard to clear something that big when your family's kind of pulling you to go eat some cake. It's a very different energy. I'm so sorry. I forgot about that. So I didn't know. So my guess is that tonight when you dream, just give all that stuff to the earth that's left over. Okay, because I felt major stuff just clear out. So you might just need a bath. You might just need like to be able to breathe and not feel pressured. But my guess is that you're going to feel lighter and clearer around sharing your gifts with the world because it looks like you're here to do that.
Yeah.
So, feeling a little better now.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, you're free to go, my friend. Thank you for joining us, and tell your dad happy birthday from all of us on the call and wishing him the best birthday ever. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow for our 4th class. We're going to get through this whole chart. We're going to get this map filled in so that all of you have the information to begin to discern, where you want to, how you can read this chart for yourself and other people. So I want to show you something. April's chart's a really good example. Love you. Mwah. You. A really great example of something. And that something is that she has a lot of planets upstairs.
Yes.
Yeah, she has a lot of planets upstairs. Pamela's saying she felt that clearing very deeply. Yes. Yeah, me too. Pamela, yeah, happy birthday to your father, April. Woo!
Thank you,
Sending
guys.
love. Is 70 today?
70. Yeah.
70. Well, you give them our love out there.
Okie dokie. I'll see you guys
Okay.
tomorrow.
Okay, have a good night. Pamela, would you like to share what that clearing session was like for you? I know I saw a lot of you yawning. I was yawning. Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt it definitely, and I was clearing it along with like for April, but I was also clearing it for my lineages.
Yeah.
And then I'm in Appalachia. I'm literally in the mountains here. And I have a Cherokee great grandmother that's full blood on my dad's side. So I feel a very strong connection with the Native Americans. And since I came to Asheville, I've been feeling, that connection more deeply. And so I asked for that clearing to take place here on this land and in this mountainous area. And all throughout the world, it just kind of kept rippling out to allow for a deeper and more expansive healing and clearing for all that was ready to be released.
Nice. I felt that. I was wondering what was so profound. I was like, this is a real deep one. I was feeling stuff going on. Yeah. Did anyone else kind of have a powerful experience with that clearing?
Yeah, it was very beneficial for me. It's just, I just felt just stuff just flying out of me,
Yeah.
flying every direction.
Yeah. Wow. Awesome. Awesome. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So when we look at April's chart, do you notice how she has a lot of planets in one area? Like it's almost all in the top half, a lot in the top half. So what is the top half of a chart and what is the bottom half of the chart? So the top half of the chart, if people have a lot of planets, is the outer world. it's career, it's yang, it's outward, it's external. Okay, so April has so many planets that are outward, and she's online all the time doing events and working with people. And so when we look at someone's chart, it's highly likely that if they have a lot of planets up top, they're very externally focused. They're here to have an impact out in the world. They're here to be out on that world stage. If we have a lot of planets below the horizon line, chances are our impact will come more from home and family. We still may affect the world, but we might do it from home in our PJs. Does that make sense? Whereas someone who has a lot of planets up top, they're gonna dress, they're gonna go out, they're gonna go to events, they're gonna be drawn to that kind of lifestyle and that kind of world, right? And I just think it's so interesting because April, I met her at a huge event all about getting yourself out into the world, and just how perfect is that? Okay. Very fitting, right? Okay. Crystal, are you there? You want to say hi? How are you?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you. No,
Yeah,
I'm just tuning in. Yes. And this is just, it's so powerful. And wow, what a release from all this clearing tonight. And you will see me live tomorrow night. I will show up and turn my camera on, of course.
Awesome. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's an intense energy today, Crystal. I was like, oh man,
yeah,
it's gonna be weird going live tonight, but y'all are troopers. You really are. I appreciate it so much. And the good news is that March is gonna be a lot lighter. Okay,
thank God.
Our hearts are. It's gonna be a time about the heart, opening the heart, getting into our hearts, getting more into what we're here for. It's going to be really, really beautiful. Okay.
Yes. Such a beautiful, beautiful session tonight, and learning a lot. Yeah, this is very powerful. And I love the 4 points and how you're teaching, and then bringing in the different charts.
Yeah.
To point out, the planets. And I know for me, when you did my chart, oh my gosh, I think 2 years ago, which I need to redo.
Right.
Yeah, it's time, because I know I'm evolved, and I know a lot of huge changes have been happening for me over the last 6 months, a lot with ancestry and healing and taking care of my mother. And I can so relate to you, Pamela, Cherokee Indian tribe. I come from that myself, many, many generations. And so very powerful session tonight, Lotus, always, as always. You have a gift, and I just love what you're up to and what beautiful women you have on this call. So thank you.
Yeah, Crystal, I'm so glad you're here. You're such a champ, and shining your beautiful gift. Crystal helps to get people out there online and seen with video content. So she's your gal. If you want to go big, she will help you get across that finish line 100%. And all of you all have unique gifts. All of you. Yola is an amazing mentor. She guides people as well. Karen, you do amazing healing work. Andra, I know you do Reiki, and I'm sure everyone out there at home watching. And Kit, I know, is at home doing powerful energy work. Whether we know it or not, she is processing energy like a champ, powerfully. And so whatever you're doing, wherever you are, you're adding to this world. You're contributing. I feel it. I know it. You're a gift to humanity. You're all special and a gift and a blessing. It's getting really late tonight. And so I want to just call it, because I think we've all maybe had quite a bit to blossom through, so to speak, today. And tomorrow is a whole new day, and hopefully it will be lighter and brighter, and we can get any questions answered if anyone didn't get their questions answered tonight. And tomorrow we can keep going. We can complete this 4 points of power, and we can dive into, the destiny point and into the purpose and how we find those things. But I don't want to overload your sponges. I feel into the sponge and I'm like, oh, they're full. They're so full. And I want you to be able to decompress and process this all through. Did anyone have any final questions? I don't want to just jump off, but I do want to answer any questions if they're out there.
I
And
do, Lotus. Are
Yeah.
the replays in the Facebook group, or how, and can I invite
Yes.
a guest tomorrow
Yes,
night?
please.
Yeah, okay.
Please, if your guest is coming, ideally send me your birth information and their birth information so I can see how you all fit into this stuff, and I can use your charts as examples. And that's totally fine. The replays are coming up. I finally got replay 1 up, so I'm going to get replay 2 and 3 out there for you all. Doing my best here. Whew, it's an interesting workload doing the chart
great, Lotus.
and the
You are a
clearing.
fantastic
So
teacher.
thank you for your patience with me. I get home and I'm like, huh.
Oh, give yourself grace. I know it's leading a challenge and pulling all the pieces together. Lotus, you're doing it beautifully. So
Yeah,
thank
very
you.
nice.
Thank
Very
you.
nice.
It's time, it's time when we're called spiritually. When I found this crystal,
yes,
I knew I had to take action. There was no question in my heart, in my head. I had to do this. It was what my soul guided me to do. And
well,
so,
and kudos to you for saying no, because I've had to say no 3 times in the last month, this month.
you know what? You got to listen.
I am listening to my gut, my heart, and what is out there in the universe. And I know there's a calling and there's a reason I'm here. So
thank you. Thank you. There is Crystal, Pamela, Karen, Jean, Kit, Yola,
every
Anda, all
person
of
on
you.
this call. Yes. And what
Everyone.
I love, Pamela and Karen, and the openness of you ladies opening up.
Yeah.
And being transparent. It's so huge.
Oh, it is. It is. It's heart touching because we're all so human, right? We're all these big open hearts feeling all this stuff, and so nice to hear and for you all to share with us your truth and your story so that we can open up more and be here and be ready to share what we have to share, right?
Yes.
It's nice to have a safe container where I feel safe to open.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's key.
It is.
Thank you, Lotus, for
You're so welcome.
gifting that to us.
I love it. It's my happy place. You should see me at the end of a call. I'm grinning from ear to ear. I fly home. I float on a cloud. So this is the joy of bringing, especially women. I love working with men too, but I love bringing women together and creating a safe container, and then bringing in the magic of this chart, the accuracy of the chart, and the power of the healing. So we can really transform. We can really transform. That is the number one word: transformation. Okay. We're not here to be stuck. We're not here to be left, and we're here to transform this year. So if you're ready to do that, we're going to do more tomorrow. So come ready, get some sleep, I really recommend something sweet, something salty, love on yourself, take a nice hot bubble bath, light some candles, and just care for your beautiful hearts, because you've cleared an immense amount of energies tonight. Everyone feeling a shift?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yes.
Major shift. Awesome. Well, this is what it takes to change the world. So tomorrow, the world's going to be a brighter, lighter place. That's the way it works. So, woo! All right, ladies, I love you all so much. I appreciate you so much. Let's say a little prayer here. I like to wind up with a prayer. So just focus your energy. Think about love and connection. Come into your heart space. Put your hands together at your heart. Just bow your head for a moment. Tune into that beautiful heart space. Creator of all that is, source, universe, thank you, God. Thank you, God, for all of these blessings and these gifts and this beautiful gathering of women gathered in love, gathered in unity for healing, for growth into the highest and best. Creator of all that is, please bless these women. Please bless this earth. Please bless all of humanity through all directions of time and space. May all beings on this earth be happy, be healthy, be free, to live a life of love and purpose, and to be radiantly, abundantly, joyously abundant living these gifts. Thank you, God. May it be so, and it is so, and it is so. Woo-hoo. And now send your prayer up like a beautiful blessing up to God. Thank you, God. And just feel that blessing shower over you, shower over this whole earth. Feel that prayer rippling through humanity. Woo! Thank you, God. And so it is.
So it is.
So
And
it is.
so it
Have a
shall be.
blessed, beautiful night. Take your prayer into the night. Remember, together we are infinite love, divine union, and creation. How does it get better than this? What else is possible? What magic miracle just being you and choosing yes to you will create is the gift the world has been seeking. Sending you so much love from my heart. Aloha. Yeah. All right, ladies, have a beautiful night. See you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Mwah.
Peace and love. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
So